Fantasy football junkies. You are tuned in to the #1 source for fantasy prognostication. It's Testosterone Fantasy Sports with your hosts, Jeff and Jesse. So listen up. Here's your chance to gain the edge over the competition and dominate your fantasy football league. Every week we break down all of the matchups and tell you who to play as well as who should ride the pine. This is the joint that every fantasy junkie needs, so check it out!
Fantasy football freaks, you've tuned into Testosterone Fantasy Sports right here, and the energy is high. Jeff and Jesse in the house. Jeff, week 1 is about to
baby.
pop
So
off.
excited. This is going to be great. It's starting the week 1 of the NFL season, the best time of the year. I can't wait to get it going, Jesse.
Man.
I'm just beside myself with glee all day long, just like floating on a cloud, ready to see the kickoff of the 2008 season, man.
I know, man. It's almost like a tear drops my eye. Tonight we taped the show on Thursday, so the first NFL game is going to get underway. Our show airs on Saturday, so you know we wait all year long, Jeff. We do this labor of love because it's something we're passionate about. I know that passion comes through to the junkies, and when we actually get into breaking down the matchups and we're about to see games, it's just it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, man, we've been working so long all year, and now with the preseason, it seems to drag on forever.
Yep.
And when August 1st gets here, it's draft season, and everybody's excited, and all this different stuff happens, training camp, and then we wait through the preseason games, and now it's finally here. We're knocking on the doorstep. It's time. Let's get this party started.
That's right. Let's get this party started. And when we say party started, what we do here at Testosterone, if you're new to the club, we welcome you. We break down all of the matchups on a weekly basis, telling you who to play and who should ride your pine in your fantasy league, because it's all about fantasy domination. Now, in this show, and we've got a special one for you, we're going to break down all the matchups, as we always do, tell you about current breaking news, injuries, those kinds of things. Our good friend Zach is going to stop by a little bit later to talk about the purple and also do our annual prediction segment.
Yeah, it's time to do that. Yeasty can't make it this week. We haven't seen him yet so far on the season. He is still a member of our crew, and he's been working hard at his regular guy job lately. Super busy, but he's got his predictions. They're here, and if I can remember them properly, then we'll get those out as well. So make sure to stay tuned to the entire show. We're going to be breaking it down, dropping science, bro.
Didn't he pick the Bears to win the Super Bowl?
I think he did pick the Bears.
You got to be here, Yeast. We miss you, but the fantasy junkies out there can still stay up with everything Yeasty is doing online on our website, testosteronesports.com. Yeasty has his own writers page there. It's a blog with all of the rankings, as do the rest of us. So check it out, testosteronesports.com. Jumping right into the matchups, Jeff. Chicago at Indianapolis, a game that is going to be on national television going down Sunday night. The Colts and the Bears. The Colts have a new stadium that they're going to be unveiling in front of a national audience. They've got some question marks with injury, though. So what are we going to see happen when these two teams lock horns?
Well, I'm really interested to see what Indianapolis is going to do. You know, I get the sense that because Peyton Manning hasn't been involved in the preseason preparations, I think that they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more with Joseph Adai. Now, Peyton Manning's a special quarterback, so I think he's going to get his flow and start feeling things long about middle of the first quarter.
Right.
It's not going to take long. Chicago's got a nice defense. While they're healthy, they're going to be good. So early on, I think it's going to be tougher for the Colts to move the ball through the air. And I will say that I think that Joseph Adai is the most injury-prone running back in the NFL. And if you don't have his backup Dominic Rhodes or Mike Hart, then you're going to be in trouble later on. So if Adai gets out of this game unscathed, I think it's a victory.
Mike Hunt? Oh, Mike Hart.
I said Mike Hart, right? I hope I said that right.
Sorry, man. No, I agree with you. I think Peyton Manning is going to have a little bit of rust on him. He and Marvin Harrison, however, have connected for more touchdowns than any other tandem in league history. So I've been a guy who's been buying low on Marvin Harrison throughout the draft season. I'm going to be rolling the old man out in this matchup. I'm going to start him in 3 of my leagues here this week, and I think that tandem, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, they know how to get it done. I'm predicting a touchdown in front of a national audience in the first game of their new stadium.
Yeah.
I think those guys will get up.
Well, everybody be careful rolling the old man out, because he may just get rolled out of the stadium on a cart.
We'll see.
He's 35 years old and a little bit brittle now, so you got to be really wary about your receivers if he's your top guy. For Chicago, I'll tell you that it really makes me nervous that they only have Devin Hester and Greg Olsen as decent targets for their offense.
Yeah, it's bad.
I really think that they're going to have a hard time running the ball. Jesse, what's your take on Matt Forte in the running game here against Indy?
Well, if people have tuned in throughout the preseason, they heard us talk about Matt Forte in our rookie segment breakdown a couple weeks back. And basically, my assessment of the guy is this. I think he's got talent. You know, he catches the ball really well out of the backfield. He's able to break tackles. He runs well between the tackles. So he's one of those multi-purpose guys. They definitely picked him up in the second round because they knew Cedric Benson's time here was done. But look, I hate his situation. Kyle Orton is the starting quarterback. Their offensive line, while there still are some playmakers there are also some questions. The big offensive tackle, Chris Williams, that they drafted in the first round of the draft may miss the entire season with a degenerative condition in his spine. So that's a bad omen right there for the Bears. And I just really worry that teams are going to be able to shut the passing game down so easily that Forte is just going to get stopped as a byproduct of this team sucking.
And not only that, but Matt Forte, as a rookie, he's got to learn the playbook as well as how to pick up blitzing defenses.
Right.
The NFL, they're awesome at disguising their blitzes, and I think that because he's inexperienced, when he gets out there, they're going to have to utilize other players like the other Adrian Peterson to keep things going. So I really think that Adrian Peterson from the Bears is going to eat into Matt Forte's chances. And honestly, Jesse, I like him the most in this backfield, which I don't like at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. The next matchup to talk about, Dallas at Cleveland. The Cowboys came just a few plays away from making a possible Super Bowl run last year. They were definitely the best team in the NFC throughout the year, but they had their hearts broken at the end. They've waited through a long offseason, just as we have. Jeff, what's going to happen when the Cowboys take the field against Cleveland and an improved defensive unit?
Well, we've got one player on the Cowboys who should be really excited to have the sole possession of the starting job, and that's Marion Barber. I'll tell you what, though, I'm a little bit nervous about his ability to get things going up the middle because the Browns boast one Shaun Rogers and one Corey Williams.
Right.
When you got those two big stalwarts in the inside of your defensive line, teams can't rush on you.
Right.
So Barber will find some room on the edge, but I think it's the passing game for the Cowboys that's really going to set the tone here. Look, in order to get Shaun Rogers, the Browns had to trade Lee Bodden, their best cornerback. So I think they're going to have a really hard time stopping anybody through the air, in this contest and all season. I
agree completely. I mean, obviously, Terrell Owens is a guy you have to start in this matchup. Tony Romo, I love him absolutely going forward. His jersey's hanging right behind me right there for you people at home to check out. And I think he, Jason Witten, and Terrell Owens are all going to have big games here. Cleveland couldn't stop anybody in the passing game last year with Bodden.
Right.
So now with no Bodden, they're going to get blown up here.
Yep.
So the Cowboys start all your Cowboys, and that's going to become a theme throughout the season. What about Cleveland now? We saw Derek Anderson get concussed in their third preseason game. He hasn't been back under center since that time. He might be a little rusty. Are you at all concerned about Cleveland, their passing game? Dallas has a formidable defense.
Dallas' secondary is one of the best in the NFL, if not the league's best. I'll tell you, I think that Dallas is going to jump up early on Cleveland, totally taking Jamal Lewis out of the game.
Agreed.
And then when it comes to the passing game, I do think that the Browns are going to have to throw the ball a lot. So that does bode well for all the passing stats. I think Kellen Winslow can find the end zone. I do like Braylon Edwards. He's about as hard to cover as anybody else in the NFL, especially in the red zone. So I definitely like them too. I'm not real high on Stallworth until he starts to prove things to me. But I think that Cleveland's going to have a rough time here in this game. And definitely through the rushing game. Don't start Jamal Lewis if you can help it.
Seattle traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills. Now, the Bills are a team that is really starting to take some steps on the offensive side of the ball. Last year, they added Marshawn Lynch. He was a solid rookie for them last year. He's coming into his second season. They added an impressive rookie wideout in James Hardy this year in the draft. Jeff, their offensive system starts to look like it's coming together a little bit. Trent Edwards has been impressive in the preseason. Which of these Bills do you play against a pretty decent Seattle defense?
Well, I'll tell you what, I really see this as a very low-scoring game. So, Jesse, I don't like many of the players. I think Lee Evans is going to find a lot more room to move with Hardy on the other side of the ball. He's not going to be able to be double covered all the time now. That said, I'm not thinking that the Bills are going to put up very many points. Marshawn Lynch maybe 50 yards and a touchdown at best. I do think Buffalo will win, though.
I picked Buffalo to win as well.
Excellent.
So, interesting.
And let's take this opportunity right now to encourage everybody out there who's watching this show, come on our website, testosteronesports.com, especially if you think that we're stupid for picking the Bills. Compete against us. See if you can do what we do on the Testosterone Pick'em Challenge.
Exactly.
This year we've got some prizes to give away, and we'd love to see you on there competing against us, showing us what you got when it comes to picking winners.
Picking winners is what we're all about, and I have picked the Seattle Seahawks as a big loser this season, Jeff. They're traveling to Buffalo here, and I don't see how they're going to get any offense going. I mean, their running game is really suspect.
Yeah.
Julius Jones, Maurice Morris, you can't start either of those guys. They're going to be splitting time 50-50. And Matt Hasselbeck has no one to throw to.
I would just avoid all the Seahawks if possible here in this contest. I hope you didn't go after Matt Hasselbeck. We were telling you all preseason he's going to be a bust. He just doesn't have targets to throw to. I like him as a player,
right?
But Nate Burleson by himself isn't going to get it done.
Nope.
Deion Branch too injury prone to even see the field.
Yeah.
Ingram is injured. And they have Ben Obamanu, I think, who's starting. These are nondescript players who aren't going to make much of an impact. I think that in Mike Holmgren's last season, they're going down in flames.
I agree wholeheartedly, man, for sure. Another team that could be headed for the fiery furnace is Kansas City. Definitely have some problems out there. They looked like they overhauled in the draft, but they've had some dings and some injuries to their rookies throughout the preseason.
At least they play a crappy team who's not interested in doing well.
They've got to play New England in New England in the opener. So KC, New England. Can you start Larry Johnson and Tony Gonzalez or not?
Well, you have to. If you drafted Larry Johnson at the end of the first, early second, you pretty much have no other choice. You got to roll him out there. He could be good for about 70 all-purpose yards, maybe 100 all-purpose yards. He won't top the 100-yard mark on the ground alone. He might get in the end zone. I think they're going to have to abandon the run by the middle of the first quarter after Tom Brady's thrown like 2 touchdowns.
Right. I agree. One guy I'm starting in this game is going to be Dwayne Bowe for that exact reason. I mean, he's the kind of player that the team is going to look to get the ball to. Much like the Broncos use Brandon Marshall, where he's really their only option. They throw it to him like 12 times a game. Dwayne Bowe is going to get a lot of targets in this game. I think you stay here because out of all of the Patriots' whole entire team, their defensive secondary is definitely their biggest question mark, and I think there's some room to throw there.
Oh, most definitely. And I'll tell you what, we got a chance to see this team as far as Kansas City goes in the preseason personally, and they targeted Dwayne Bowe so much in practice that I get the sense he could end up being one of the highest targeted receivers in the NFL this year, and that's a nice strategy for you going in. If you want your guys to get thrown the ball a lot, and I think that Bowe could get like 6-7 catches in numerous games this season.
Right, and they're going to be behind all the time.
Every game. They're going to be lucky to win 4.
Right. Yeah, I agree completely. Now, New England, you're going to roll all your New England guys out there. It's a start everybody situation. Lawrence Maroney's completely in play here, as, of course, is Moss and Brady. Brady's going to be healthy. I mean, Wes Welker is also a guy you can throw out there. You might want to take a little bit more of a wait-and-see approach with Ben Watson or any of their other wide receivers, Gaffney, guys like that, but you start them all.
I'm totally tempering my expectations on Lawrence Maroney here in this game. I'll tell you that if you spent your 3rd or 4th round pick on him, you might be able to bench him here just to see what happens, but I get the sense that maybe he's the most highly talented decoy in the history of the NFL. It just, until they start to do it, last year they baited the NFL into believing that Randy Moss was going to suck, they're going to run the ball. This year they're baiting the NFL into saying, Tom Brady hasn't been here, we're going to run the ball. I think Tom Brady throws 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
There's a very good possibility for sure. I would start Lawrence Maroney in this game.
I'm sure most people will.
St. Louis at Philly in the final matchup of our opening segment of the Week 1 show, man. The Eagles, I'm wearing the Brian Westbrook jersey. I like the Eagles this season. I've seen some experts picking them to make deep playoff runs. Although I question their wide receiver position, I think they're going to post some nice points here against a Rams team that's pretty sucky on defense.
It's like year in and year out. They have so many major needs on defense, yet they don't really address them in a way that will pull it all together in one season.
Right.
They drafted Chris Long, nice smart move, but at the same time, when you don't have any linebackers or secondary players, you're still going to yield a ton of points and yardage.
Yep.
Here, no different. I love Westbrook this week, and if you don't know who Deshaun Jackson is, rookie wide receiver, get to know him because he's about to drop science.
Yeah, I agree completely. Deshaun Jackson is a guy you could actually start in this game. I think he's got a great chance to get behind the secondary. Look, Kevin Curtis is out. He's got the hernia deal. He's going to be out for several weeks. Jackson looked great in the preseason, so he's definitely a fringe guy that you can start. On the St. Louis side of the ball, yeah, it's dicey. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to start Mark Bulger. He's one hit away from the next Chris Chandler, you know, concussed and out again. So I'm really worried about the Rams offense. Steven Jackson holding out. He might even lose touches in week 1.
I mean, I don't think he's necessarily going to lose touches, but I do think he won't find very much room to run against a very pride-filled defense. The Eagles are a team that feel like they deserve to go to the playoffs. They're talented enough to go, and all they got to do is prove it on the field now. So I think they're going to come out extremely hungry, and I like their defense to shut down St. Louis. And we could be talking about Mark bulging disc here when this game is over, because with the great pass rush that Jim Johnson, their defensive coordinator, can get, I just think it's going to be a really long day for the Rams offense all day long.
Yeah, I agree completely. Well, we thank you for joining us. The opening segment is now in the books.
Woo!
If you haven't done already, go online, testosteronesports.com. Check out the site. It's fantastic. It's our best web offering ever, Jeffrey. And after the show, we do a fat chat where we hop on there live. We talk to you about all of your matchup-related questions. Come on there. Get to know us. We want to get to know you. The fat chat going down after the show, testosteronesports.com. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back right after this.
Yep.
Well, I'm very pleased to be joined right now by the man of the hour, the defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier. Thanks for taking a minute to talk with us. Coach, you've got to be just ecstatic about the defense and how they're looking, and the bar is set kind of high, but they're going to deliver, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about the guys that we have. I mean, having Jared Allen, an addition, a great addition to our defense, along with Madu Williams. I mean, guys that'll really help us. Ellis Williams also. So we're excited. We're excited.
Yeah, it's great. On the defensive side of the ball, the Vikings definitely bring the prowess, bring a lot of power. Tell us a little bit about the cover 2 scheme and what you guys are going to be trying to accomplish in that scheme this season.
Turnovers. We want that to be our mantra, you know. Last year we led the league in turnovers with interceptions and touchdown fumbles to, you know, have 8 touchdowns during the season. So we want to surpass that. We'd like to be able to get some turnovers and help our football team win, and that's the goal in that cover 2 scheme. You know, get some pressure on the quarterback and get the football turned over.
Of course, we've got major respect and appreciation for the Williams wall inside, both Pat and Kevin. Talk a little bit about those guys and how those guys are gelling with Jared Allen.
Well, you know, Pat and Kevin are terrific. All our fans know that. They're Pro Bowl guys, and now you add another Pro Bowl in Jared Allen. It just it makes our front a formidable front, and we're counting on Ray Edwards to be another great piece to the puzzle, and we're expecting to have a good year out of our defensive line.
Yeah, and Ray back on the field today in practice. How's he feeling? How's he looking out there?
Well, it was his first day back, as you mentioned, and you know, he looked like he was in better shape than you would expect, you know, with the time off, and he's a guy that's well conditioned, and we're going to need him this year, and he did better than we expected him to do.
Well, tomorrow night you got a scrimmage against the Chiefs. I want to wish you a lot of luck this season and tomorrow night as well.
All right.
Coach Leslie Frazier, thanks for stopping by.